Hey, good afternoon. Hope everybody is doing well. It's been a little over a week since the last time I reached out, recorded a video. There's been a lot of things happening in my life, a lot of different feelings and emotions. Um, Nothing bad or anything like that. Just a lot of realizations and just a lot of revelations that's been going on. Man, this has been a true eye opener for me. I didn't realize how um, distorted my thinking was, right? I didn't realize how over the years I had been caught continuously in the cycle of my thought process. Um, God has been really revealing stuff to me, and I'm grateful for that. I'm truly grateful for that. I am truly, um, words can't express how I feel right now. I know I've said out my mouth that I'm afraid. There's some fear going on and things of that nature. Um, and that's just due to the fact that I'm in unfamiliar territory. You know, it's like I have a blank canvas. Like my life right now is a blank canvas. And it's some things that I need to do, some directions that I need to take. And in the midst of all of this, remain humble and walk in truth and stand in faith and know that I know whose I am. You know, I mentioned before that I've been blessed to have a sister. My mother gave birth to two children, me and my little sister. And I grew up raising her, right? I'm just give you a little bit of background about who I am, right? And I understand today that I'm not a victim. Have I been victimized? Yeah, I have. Did I victimize some people? Yeah, I did. Um, I know over the course of time and dealing with people and being in relationships and stuff like that, I've heard people say, you act like you do no wrong. I'm one of the people that I know that is willing to admit when I'm wrong. Now, granted, it ain't always the first time around. Sometimes when people call me on some stuff, depending on how they come, I might come back defensive, all of that. But for over the last 20 some years, my main objective has been to become the better version of me, right? Um, my childhood wasn't a horrible childhood. I didn't have my father in my life, but my mother did a doggone good job. But I was abused. I was beaten with stitcher cards and all of that. I didn't get affection and love and all of those different things. And the reality of the matter is that a lot of times, 99% of the time, our past, the things we experience, shape and mold us. we can stay and walk in victim mentality, or we can fight and get out of it, or we could have a good upbringing and go totally opposite of that, you know. But our past and our upbringing, for me, it shaped and molded me. Um, and even as an adult and working on change and trying to uh, come in self and learn who you are, the environment in which you in when you're an adult, it can shape and mold who you are. Um, and that's what has happened, right? So when I say a lot has been going on, and when I say that I realize that my thinking, my belief system for a long time has been jacked up. And what I mean by that is that I've accepted a lot of stuff. I remember saying that I'm not a follower, right? I want to say in my first video or my second one that I'm not a follower, and I've never been a follower. But when I sit down and think about it, I did a lot of stuff demeaning or against my integrity or my belief system to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen. What I understand is that whether I wanted to admit it or not, to a certain degree, that's a form of manipulation. Because I wouldn't be in the true me. But the question is, how can you be the true you if you don't even know who you are? You get up every day. You do what your mother tell you, your father, whoever's your guardian. You go to school. And then you get around people and you're liking them, but they're doing things that you weren't told to do, or you were introduced to things before your time, and it becomes habit forming. And anybody knows that a habit becomes a part of who you are. And then it becomes part of your DNA. It's for your behaviors, right? And you search and you try to figure out. It's just like trying food. You know, I don't like this, so I'll try this, or I don't like that. And then you got some stuff that you won't even try. You just automatically say you don't like it, but you don't know if you really like it or not because you haven't tried it. And that's pretty much how my life has been. Like, up until a few years ago, and I said that in my third video, that I remember learning things that I liked. Not because they liked it, not because he liked it, not because my friend and them said to do it, but because this is truly what I liked. That's right now today, you know, getting a new, prior to this situation, I've always been one to try, at least try something, because God has given me a second chance at life, right? That I used drugs, and I did a lot of jacked up stuff to support my habit, and I became a chameleon. But I was a chameleon to try to fit in or to feel a part of. Way before I started even using drugs, right? And once I stopped using drugs, I just stopped. I didn't do anything anymore, and I stopped drinking, and I stopped doing any type of illicit chemicals and anything like that. And but I had to find out what it was Nikki like. You know, my birth name is Ema, right? And that's what my mother named me. And growing up, that's not what I went by. Anybody that knew me by Nikki. And it wasn't until some years ago that when the drugs and stuff left my life and I started to find out who I was and what I liked, that Ema came to light. Nikki was this rah-rah person that got in trouble, that fought, that my alter ego. And I remember, because my family and stuff, they know me and they know the type of person that I can be and will be if need be. And, but that's not who I choose to be. And I remember saying, dang, you become a punk. I remember if the situation that happened to me a month or so ago would have happened to me 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to have this recording and do any type of videos or put anything on any type of platform because I'll be in jail or dead because I wouldn't have let that fly. I wouldn't have let it fly. I grew up fighting. I didn't want to fight. That's that alter ego. I've always been a different person. And when I say a different person, I'm saying I've always danced to a beat of my own tune. And people didn't like that. For whatever reason. So what I'm learning now today is that because I always wanted to be seen, to be respected, to be valued, but in order for those things to happen, I got to do them for me. I got to see me. I got to respect me. I got to value me. Everything that I've always looked outward for is in here. And I'm grateful to God that God is so merciful and so miraculous. That He has given me what I need. It's always been there. It's always been there. I just always seem to get distracted. I always seem to step off the beaten path. You know, like my life is not horrible. It's not. But I started off saying that my thinking is so jacked up, like daily. I have to tell my mind to line up. Daily, I have to go into prayer. Daily, I have to say, God, help me. Daily, I have to protect me. And that's something I never really did as far as protecting my spirit and my soul and my heart. Sometimes, and I know that God has to put me on this journey with me and God. With me and God. Jesus, help me. And I'm telling you, it's the tears that I shed. They're not tears of sadness or depression. They're tears because of the revelation. Because I know that everything that I ever desired is right here. It's right here. You know, I hear people and they talk about the cars and the houses and all that. And yeah, I get that and I'm going to get that and all of that. But for me, it's bigger than that. I've always wanted to know what my purpose was. I don't know about you. But I used to say, God, why am I here? What am I here to do? I hear people saying, Nikki, you sweet, you nice, and yeah, I give you some stuff, and but it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's about my calling. It's about what I'm supposed to be doing, the walk that I'm supposed to be walking, my career path, where God wants me to be, where I desire to be. You know, my mind takes me to all kind of places. If you only did this, you should have did this. You probably should have did that. You shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have been over here. But what God reminds me is that everything works together for those, but whether everything works out for those, together for those that love the Lord, the good for those that love the Lord, right? Like it probably, everything that happened was meant to happen. You know, I remember one time, when I was drinking years ago, and I think I said this before, but I was out in the public park somewhere somewhere. I was out in public, and an officer came by and told me to put the beer down, and so I'm not putting my beer down. This is my beer, ma'am. I'm gonna need you to pour that out. I looked at him and I said, okay, and I drank it. And he locked me up. And I'm sitting in that jail cell and I'm saying, why didn't you just pour the beer out? Well, at this time, I had been out tripping, hadn't been home, had been out for days, and it's just a mess. I was a mess. And being there gave me time to get my mind right, and I was able to go home and take a shower and get some food in me. See, I didn't see it then, but I can see now that I needed to be locked up because I had some plans to act a fool that night and do some old crazy stuff. Something that night could have took my life. I said it in my second and my fourth video that something's happening to me. Something has happened. Now, don't get it twisted. When I wake up every morning, I'm grateful. I'm excited that I got to see another day. But then I deal with all kind of different emotions and feelings throughout the day. I want to beat myself up. I want to beat somebody else up. I want to, but when I stop and I say, God, take the wheel. See, what I understand and what I'm learning is that the way I've been thinking all these years has been real jacked up. And see, my mind, and I said this before, I don't know the difference of healthy or unhealthy. It just knows what it's been taught. It just knows what I've learned. So what I have to learn how to do is, instead of feeding into the jacked up thinking, I have to retrain it. And it comes with constant work. It comes with guarding myself and protecting myself. Because I'm 53 years old. And in 53 years, I'll say the first 5 or 6, I was a kid. I remember some things, but when my innocence got taken, I was 7. And when I was 7, there were some things that were embedded in my thought process that became part of my makeup. I didn't have nobody there to say, I'm going to protect you. This wasn't supposed to happen to you. What do you want to be when you grow up? I support you in what you're doing. I had to be my own cheerleader. Now don't get it twisted. I had people around. I had family around. And they were doing their own things. My aunt, I love her so much. My aunt died. She did her best to help me and try to put a little money in my pocket and babysit my cousins. But I didn't have this support system. I didn't have it. But God had his hand on me every step of the way. He did. Oh my God, he did. Because I could have been worse off. I started working at an actual job when I was 14, getting straight A's. I moved out of my mama's house for the very first time when I was 15. I celebrated my 16th birthday in my own place. They rented an apartment to me back then. They didn't require all the stuff they require now, IDs and stuff. And when they asked me my name, I said Nikki. And I understand now why I always wanted that comfort, that protector, that support. Everything that I wanted for me, I provided to others. I did for you what I wanted to be done for me. And I am truly, truly, truly not angry or upset about those things. It's just an epiphany. Just a revelation of what transpired in my life and what molded me to be. Right? Because I used to be, I'm talking about distorted. Nah, I don't want you cheating on me, but if you gotta cheat, go in Illinois. You know, today people say that's just a realist. That's what people do. Nah. You know what you want. You know what you want. And everybody got a different cup of tea that they like to drink from. Some people don't even like tea, they like coffee. I personally like coffee. I drink tea too, but I prefer coffee. Me, I didn't want to be cheated on, but I didn't want you to break up with me either. So I sacrificed my belief system and I settled. And I've been doing that for a long time. And I said, and my relationships mirror each other. And I ain't got it confused. And I know that people in relationships are always going to see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? We're not always going to agree. But it's about learning to respect the other person, to hear each other. I'm realizing that people can be very selfish. I'm one of those people that could be. But for the most part, I wasn't. I was selfish and not considering the people that truly loved me, that watched me be disrespected, dogged out, mistreated, that watched me become ugly and belittling. So today, I'm just doing the necessary steps to get past, not get past, that's not the right word. Let me say that better. To continue on the healing journey because I just don't want to get past. There's some work that's being done in me. So what I'm doing today is just praying because normally something comes, something happens to take my eyes off the prize. Nobody make me do it. I make a conscious decision to do it. So today what I'm doing is keeping my eye on the prize. It's a lot of work and a lot of stuff that I need to do. But like I said, this time next year I won't be in the same place. Elevation. Elevation. You know, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not mad at the person that put their hands on me and caused me to knock myself into the wall and mess my face up. Because I'm still beautiful. I'm having an allergic reaction to something. Face and broke all out. And I remember a time that you wouldn't even see me for real outside. If I didn't have it all together. Today is about having it all together in here and in here. One thing that I am aware of is that I'm beautiful. For a long time, I wanted my insides to match my outside, so I would dress up the outside. My insides are beautiful. They're getting prettier and prettier every day because I'm healing. Because the work is being done. The lies that I told myself, the things that I believed about me, or believed about the world and other people. Those things are being healed. God told me, Holy Spirit told me, trust the process. The organization that I'm part of says don't leave before the miracle happens. And again, I don't like what happened. I don't like what I did. I don't like being ever involved with somebody else's husband. I don't like any of those things. But what it showed me is that the areas that I'm broken in, the areas that continuously need the work. And I know that God's word don't return void. I know that. God is a healer. And I trust him to be this, that. Not just of illnesses, but of brokenness as well. God say, ask and you shall receive. Knocking, the door shall be open unto you. When I asked a long time ago, God gave it to me. I just didn't get in position to get it. It has been a wonderful birthday. It's been a wonderful weekend. This weekend, my daughter just celebrated her birthday. I have another daughter that has a birthday coming up. It's Sunday, May 31st. Because I don't know when this will post, but what I do know is that each day is a miracle. Each day I get closer and closer to where God needs me to be, where God requires me to be. You know, what I used to do is just get upset because of things that I decided to do, God allowing them to happen. What I know is that my God, my big old God, is not going to battle with me. He wants me to want to be closer to Him and to want to do the work to get closer to Him. He wants me to desire Him the way I desired being in relationships and desired not being alone and all of those different things. He wants me to make Him a priority, not everything else around me. See, I got things out of order. You know, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm supposed to go get the things and line up accordingly. And then God, no, 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 no. Who the heck do I think I am? Right? So, with all of that, it's like, okay, Nikki, it's time to take her some stuff. You know, and like I said before, I got, even though my kids are grown, they're still watching. My decision still affects them. It do. You know, my son was so angry with me. And this was before the April 27th incident happened. Because he had put his hands on me before. And I'm trying to force feed this man to my family. You know, trying to get them to just be around them. You know, I know. But what I did say is that it will never be another holiday that comes that he's going to be in my life. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. Easter Sunday, he came by and my sons came by. He would not come inside my house because this person was there. I had to beg my child. Now, how wrong of me is that? You couldn't have never, I'm talking about some woman put their hands on my baby. Any of my kids, my sister, look. Nah, heck no. But I knew that would be the last holiday. I just didn't know how. But I knew that would be the last holiday that me and this individual would be in each other's presence. I was tired. I was tired of me. I was tired of me. You know, there's some plans and some things that I got going on. You know, like I said before, I'm finna take my butt to school. You know, and got some other stuff that I need to take care of, and some trips that I need to take. But in the midst of that, getting closer to God, the Word, allowing it to manifest in my life. You know, allowing me to heal. You know, um, it's ugly. You know, this is freaking ugly. But I'm not. You know, of course I look at the bruise and I'm reminded of the decisions that I made. You know, and all I know is that no matter what happens, nobody deserves to be abused. You know, I say that time and time again, man. You know, but I was that person, that judgmental, self righteous, arrogant, egotistical, falsehood of a person that said, ain't no way no mamma namma can treat me like this or treat me like this or say like this or say that to me and I stick and stay. Until I became that person. Ooh wee, ooh wee, ooh wee. Anyway, I'm walking through this journey and I'm hoping you guys will walk through it with me. And again, I say again, men and women, nobody, not nobody, deserves to be abused. First, we got to stop lying to ourselves, abusing ourselves, right? Because if you ain't gonna treat you any kind of way, you definitely can't let nobody else treat you any kind of way. It starts with self, right? But I always ask myself the question, what the hell is wrong with me? What was going on with me? And that's where I'm at today. I'm in the solution and out of the problem. Again, no, I don't have all the answers. Again, I need a lot of help and I got a lot of people in my corner. You know what I'm saying? I only need this many. I don't need a gang of people, right? Because everybody don't walk in truth. You know, I don't want, look, I know when we're doing what we're doing, we don't want to hear nobody telling us that, hey, it ain't right. Hey, you shouldn't do. Hey, you deserve better. I'm one of the first people to tell you that. But I'm definitely grateful for the people that was in my life, even when I continued to make the jacked up decisions, because it was a thorn in my side. Anytime I continued to deal with the individual, it was them in my ear saying, what are you doing? What are you looking for? What do you think you're going to get out of this? How you think God going to bless this? Do you actually think? But what I do know is that I always had wanted what appeared to be a provider. That person possessed these qualities, provider qualities. I didn't realize that's what I wanted or desired. But God said, I'll be your everything. I'll be your provider, your lover, your comforter, your friend. I'll be your everything. And then I'll give you everything that your heart desires. You just need to be patient and seek after me. And that's where I'm at today. Just being a little patient. But anyway, like I said, it's Sunday. I love to cook, so I have cooked some food. I took today a chill day, something I don't do often. But I'll get back with you guys in a couple of days. I hope your day is amazing, because mine is. And I'll talk back soon.